Hello everyone, a very good evening and welcome to our second class for your expected IBPS PO interview questions. Let me just do a quick check if I am audible and visible to everyone. Yeah, audible and visible. Nayan is always the first. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So today the agenda is very simple. I was just going through all the articles, etc. last 1 month or whatever I felt was useful. I have chosen 5 of the articles which I believe could be discussed, and I'll be discussing them. It'll be a short session. So, but I'll give you an idea about how you should prepare the topic. Even as because all the topics will not be relevant for everyone. Okay. So the Pika rebellion, in the Maharashtra will not be relevant for people who are not from Maharashtra. So if I am from West Bengal, I am more likely to, I think there was a guy who talked about whether I should, learn about this rebellion, and I asked about you're from West Bengal, you should better concentrate on Gorkha land demand. Okay, so many, I think in terms of the preparation, you will have to customize it to your CV. Please try to understand every single interview will be unique and it would ideally revolve around your CV, what you have done in your life, how you are guiding the interview. Okay, but there are few topics which will be discussed or are likely to be discussed, like independence of judiciary is one, right? Things like that. So do have a look, and anything and everything that comes under the purview of your CV or your upbringing or your studies should also be tackled accordingly. So this will give you a fair idea about how do we go about preparing for the current affair or things that we need. How deep should we go in? We do not have to become a PhD scholar in these topics. Please try to understand. You will only have to know sufficient so that you can get into a conversation for at least like two times, 2 levels of depth, and you're okay. Okay, Govind, I have taken your name. Yeah. Yes, Office of Profit, I am taking it. Public sector bank mergers, etc. I think we have dealt in detail already. Yeah, so let's get started now without wasting any time. Let me just go to the first topic. I'm just moving out of the screen now. Yeah, Asian countries, yes. Asian link also I'm talking about. Okay, so the very first topic is chaos in the Supreme Court. All right. I'll tell you, to what level you have to go and what you should definitely avoid. All right. So yeah, so these are 4-5 most important topic which at least I felt. You might have different view, but I'll give you a direction of how you should go about it. Okay, so what happened first of all in this? So there were 4 senior most judges. They went out and held a press conference. This is an unprecedented, an unfortunate and unprecedented event which has happened. And they again, whenever there is saved democracy and things like that, I honestly become skeptic. The record of saving democracy with America, the history that we know is really not so well. And then you start smelling, there is something more to, the entire scheme of things than saving democracy. But of course, all our Supreme Court judges are esteemed, and you saw what happened after that. We'll get into that later. But yes, and what was happening? What was the reason? Yeah, so let's how can when a majority government is not there with you, how can you impeach a Supreme Court judge? Okay, just forget about it. Listen to what happened. Okay, Chief Justice of India was assigning cases which had far-reaching consequences to the nation on selectively to the benches of his preference. Okay, so first of all, what is a convention? It's based on a roster. What is a roster? It is nothing but a a schedule. So if Justice say XYZ, Mr. Chamleshwar is more good in IT, most likely the IT cases will come to him. If someone is into civil law, the something like triple talaq would come under his purview, or someone is good in say privacy issues or the rights of the citizen, then Aadhaar case will come to his purview. But what these 4 esteemed judges complained was the cases were getting assigned to random people, okay, and without of course, there was some bias in the selection of the bench. I hope you understand. Roster I have already explained here. Yeah, it's not basis seniority. The cases will not be assigned basis seniority, basis your experience in the domain. If a judge is known to have vast experience into some of the cases, it generally goes. But what happened in Prasad Education Trust case? I think this was I think there was a lot of hue and cry, if you remember. There were charges of judicial corruption, and there was in some way or other it was hinting at Chief Justice of India. So what happened, to preserve the integrity, there was a bench which gave a ruling that the bench which will be hearing the case for this trust should not be chosen by Chief Justice of India. Of course, he was not going to present himself on the bench, but it should not be even chosen by him. So that was the problem, and senior most judges felt, to maintain the integrity, if his name is coming, or even if it is directly indirectly involved, even the bench chosen to hear this case should not have any influence of Chief Justice of India. But what happened? Then Chief Justice of India, again with a 5-judge bench, overturned the order and asserted that CJ was indeed the master of the roster. So anything in this roster, if Chief Justice of India feels that he wants to make a change, he has that leeway to do that. Okay, and that is what he did. Okay, and he said he has nothing to hide, and he in fact opened media to go ahead and also do the coverage and report about all these things to the public. So which came out as he was not averse to, he was not really hiding something. Yeah, wait, Sandeep, that will come, and that is the thing that I would like you guys to avoid. Let's slow down. I am not finished yet. So this is what happened. 4 guys, 4 Supreme Court. They did a press conference. They were very vague. They said to save democracy, they had to come out and take this unprecedented event. They were accusing him of selecting the benches. The entire thing, which was very important, started with the Prasad Education Trust, wherein charges of judicial corruption, conflict of interest if CJI were there, and ultimately the bench was chosen by CJI, and the others who actually chose the bench for this case was overturned by CJI. CJI said he has nothing to hide. He made the entire coverage public. So this was the background. Okay, let's get a little ahead. Okay, now this was first, let me complete. Now you will come to how was Amit Shah related to this case. Okay, what is Justice Loya problem, and how is that somehow related to all these. So I will tell, don't let me just come back on screen here. Please don't get into trap here. Okay, you are there to go and get a government job. All right, please try to understand. Don't try to get into anything which is controversial. Your life will be, you will be made miserable, because still today, it's, Amit Shah has not been, he's not even accused properly, I will say. There is a case going on, but till the verdict is out, you cannot say that, he is very influential and he somehow tried to. There are rumors, I am quite sure all of you must have heard about how the unfortunate death of Justice Loya, it was under some mysterious circumstances. People say he was murdered, because the next day he was, not next day, I think 15 days later he was, and Justice Loya was offered 100 crore bribe and all that. Please don't get into that. That's where you put a full stop. That's where your relevance ends. The conspiracy theories, even if it is true, is none of your business. Don't get into that. Never, never, never. Okay, wait for it. You are not there to go and investigate. You are not appointed by Supreme Court of India to go and do an investigation on how Amit Shah was linked to these cases. Keep your hands clean. You are there to get a job. Don't make your life miserable. Okay, so that is my suggestion. If you still want to try the panel, maybe there is a BJP supporter there, maybe there is a Congress supporter, you don't know, your life will be made miserable. And it's, why take risk here? Everyone wants an amicable person. As a bank staff, they will see someone who understands things He's not knowledgeable. So the moment someone asks you in this, okay, I'm hearing a lot about president of BJP, I think the party president Amit Shah being involved. Do you know something about it? Straight away say, sir, as far as my knowledge is concerned, the Supreme Court has said that it has taken the Justice Loya's death into its own account and says it will investigate the matter properly. Till some ruling comes out, I think anything that we say would be speculation. Simple, close. After that he probes, it's foolishness. You have taken a safe stand. You have made him sure that you were aware that somehow his name was linked to this case also. But don't get into it. No, why do you want to create controversy? Know what is the ultimate aim. You are not there representing the nation, we the nation, and then you are creating awareness. You are there to get a job. Please try to understand there is a reason why you are appearing for it. So don't lose focus. Okay. Yes. No judgment, because it is actually whatever I have said is the fact, right? Supreme Court has already said that it will look into the matter of Justice Loya death. Now, what reason do I and you have to speculate other than the WhatsApp forwards how that 100 crore was offered to him and how his death was happened under mysterious circumstances? Are we supposed to talk about that in such formal occasion such as an interview which is giving you a 10 lakh rupees job? Absolutely not. Okay, so just keep away from that. Okay. Okay, so I hope you understood that. So the problem, what was the problem? Okay, now how do you proceed with questions like this? So a question can come: do you agree with the stance that these four most judges have taken? You should say, okay, let me just come back again. If they ask you, do you support these four most senior most four judges in the step that they have taken? Kindly be political here. Okay, be a little diplomatic and say, sir, what I understand, this was unprecedented, and if something is unprecedented, something really must have gone there. But of course, this was not the only way this could have been handled. There should have been full-bodied meeting within the Supreme Court judges, and it could have been handled in a different way. Though having said that, the way in which it came out should not have happened, but I will still try to I'll support the fact that there was a contention and it should have been solved. So the way, I will say, the means was not something I will be really keen on, or something I'm fond of, or should I be proud of. But the end here was setting a process that should be debated on, and it should be settled amicably within the judiciary, and its independence of judiciary should be maintained. There should not be any government interference, etc., and they should amicably resolve, and see to it such events do not happen in future. Okay, so you understood. So you will be quizzed on this. Do you support? In interview, it's all about, I want to understand your views, and whenever you are asked for your views, try to be neutral. I'm not saying, some of you will say you don't have spine, you should call spade a spade, but world is not black and white. Please try to understand there are grays in world. Unfortunately, though we live in computer world which is binary, but life is not binary. You'll have to try to understand there may be, a person who is really very bad in his personal life, but he's doing everything good for the country. So just because he has done something wrong in his life, he should not be, let him build the nation. So there are times when you have to close your eyes. There are times when you have to be diplomatic and, try to solve problem rather than, एक aspect को आप पकड़ लो और कि नहीं यार ये तो संविधान के खिलाफ था, ये लोग ऐसे कैसे कर गए, पूरी जो हमारी जुडिशरी थी वो चरमरा गई, और मतलब you should not get into that mindset. You have to see if there was a problem. Let's see how do we fix it. Everyone loves a problem solver. If someone takes a concrete, why I said that Buddha's middle path always is the best part, because you come out as aware, and then you are not seen as extreme, and you are seen as a problem solver. So please, in all interviews, all scenarios, wherever you are asked opinion, try to be a problem solver. Okay, that's an advice. Rest is of course your view. I cannot, yeah. So no, don't say that मैं कुछ बोलो ही मत, माकरन ऐसा नहीं करना है कि कुछ बोलना ही मत है. मेरे को आपका ओपिनियन चाहिए. I will force you to come out with some opinion. इस पे नहीं आओगे, मैं क्रिकेट मैच में आ जाऊंगा. Somewhere I will I will dig out that information. So come out as someone who is informed as well as who is not dogmatic in his views. Yeah. So okay. Now what could have been done? It's very simple. This was an internal matter of the judiciary, and they should have settled through deliberation in full court meeting. They can have, I think the Chief Justice actually held a full court meeting, and they should have come out and addressed the problem. Of course, they would have said, they had also said they had gone to him individually, and it fell on deaf ear, etc. But yeah, let's say that yes, it should have been done in an amicable way without resorting to the ways in which these Chief Justices have gone. Again, whatever the some online Sena did to all these 4 judges, we all know. Their reputations were soiled and muddied, but don't go on all that. WhatsApp forwards, avoid. Okay. Now there is another very important issue related to this. This is Memorandum of Procedure for Judicial Appointment. I hope you know that one of our Supreme Court judges, he started crying in one of the annual meeting for, I think that was something with Law Academy or somewhere. He started crying. So such bad is the state of our courts, and a lot of judicial appointment are hanging because the government is not giving any clear indication. That was also at the heart of all these problems which surfaced. Yeah. Yeah. Justice Thakur, it was not Justice Kher, it was Justice Thakur who actually cried. And then again, suddenly you will start saying that his political alignment was to Congress and he wanted to kind of belittle Modi. And let's not get into it. It's not our job to do it. Whatever problem was. But yes, irrespective of whether my leaning is BJP or say Congress, Memorandum of Procedure for Judicial Appointment should be the top priority of our government, and some clarity should be given on how it wants to see the judicial appointment, so that more and more judges are appointed and all our pending cases are taken care of. So that's about your independence of judiciary, etc. What happened? There was a good thing that even though it was provoked by the opposition parties, the government did not fall into the trap, except for, I think on January 13th, I guess, one of the advisors to the government went and met Chief Justice of India or someone, and he said when he came out, I think once you are in news, you are thorough, right? He said he went to wish New Year. So all that happens. But for our purpose, please note what happened. There was the problem. They were not happy. They went ahead and met the press, which you feel should not have been done. It could have been settled amicably inside. Prasad Trust case, CGI should have ideally stayed out, but he's emphasized that he was the master of the roster. If you start getting into it, there is no end. Maybe these 4 or 5 judges wanted to have their own liberty also, and therefore CGI overturned their decision. Maybe he was really not interested in Prasad Education Trust case, but to emphasize his position and his power, he overturned their decision. And he had really nothing to hide. He let everything about this case being discussed, right? So let's get over with this. Current state of this, I think they have come out and said everything is resolved. There is no problem. Justice Loya case has been will be taken care by the Supreme Court, and they will do proper investigation. Don't mix the two. Okay. Let's go to the Indian Asian ties now. Okay. Haircut is very simple in banking term, Pia. It means giving less than. So if I say some banks will have to take haircut, that means very simple. Okay, let me just come back to here. Someone has asked a random question here, but it's interesting. I think you may be asked. So I thought haircut here is not the haircut that we do. Someone taking a haircut, a bank taking a haircut means, suppose it has given a loan of 100 rupees wherein the interest was say 20%. It is supposed to get 120. But it will have to take the haircut, even maybe in the interest. It will not get any interest. It should be happy with the principal. So the amount that you are actually supposed to get paid, if you don't get that, you are taking a haircut. It's as simple as that. Now if there is a non-viable entity which wants to repay, but even after selling itself it cannot, so you take haircut. कुछ भी आ जाए, वो बोलते हैं ना, जहाँ से जाते वक्त कुछ भी मिल जाए, it's good. So that's haircut. Okay. Netra, I explained it yesterday. Okay. Now let's move to the Asian ties. So I'll just give you some facts which you should know. So why was 2017 special and therefore 2018 Republic Day? These Asian leaders were called. I hope you know all the 10 leaders were our chief guest. So this was commemorated the 25 years of their partnership. So Indian Asian partnership and 15 year of summit level interaction, 5 year of strategic partnership. So we have gone grown very close. So if you look at this. Why Indian Asian, whenever you are analyzing any group, you'll also see what is their economic strength, what is their say demographic strength. Okay, so we contribute to almost 1/4 of the entire world population. GDP is not that great, 4.5 trillion. I think it will be less than even China, but still this is some number. Okay, both the reason experiencing demographic dividend, we are saying that by 2020 India would have average age of 29, will be the youngest country, and the Asian country will have almost 60% of 35-year-old. So these things give you some background when you're talking about the ASEAN. I think it's not called Asian, it's called ASEAN. The Act East policy, etc. So what we are talking about is the entire population, so much of workforce which is ready to work, and also the kind of the economic potential which is there in this group. Okay, what is the biggest concern when we talk about Indian ASEAN ties? We talk about China. For India, the biggest concern now is China for various reasons. We know that it has imperialistic say whatever you can say, it has vision which is imperialistic in a sense. It wants to capture more and more land abroad. China is not having friendly ties with any of the countries in and around. Having said that, even India's record is not great. Please try to understand, not trying to belittle what India is doing, but you have to understand, except for Bhutan, none of our neighbors are also happy with us. And fortunately or unfortunately, I think I read a wonderful line, and Bhutan by definition, it's in their country to be happy, right? They give happiness great say value, and therefore they are happy. That is what they say. They really, none of our neighbors, you know about Sri Lanka, they were not happy because of all the Tamil struggle that was happening there. Bangladesh, we all know, the land swap deal and all has kind of put it down. The Madheshi trouble with the Nepal. Pakistan, we know, our dear friend. So the moment you start thinking, when I read it, I know what kind of rubbish is that. India के साथ किसी का problem कैसे हो सकता है? And then I read वो क्या कहना चाह रहा है, and then okay, the Tamil issues, yes, right. Then land deal there. You remember the border security forces were beheaded in Bangladesh, etc. Myanmar, we had some of the infiltration issues happening from there. Then except for Bhutan, Nepal Madheshi issue is there, the blockade. The problem is, though India, okay, Maldives, we were not very happy. They wanted to again get more freedom. They were also not very happy. So if you read about it, they are not really happy. Okay, so just looking at your comments. So this is the thing. So again, that's a different issue, what India should do. But similar thing goes for China. But our problem is different. China is, they want to capture land. Taiwan, we know. The Hong Kong issue, we know. The entire South China Sea issue, we know. The Arunachal Pradesh in India, we know. Of course, Pakistan has ceded the territory which it had occupied illegally from India to China, where they are now building the road. That's another issue. But we see there is, with China, there is problem. They want to have more and more control over more and more territory. So that's the problem. And this was a great time for, India to come into the picture. Yeah, creating artificial. Afghanistan is not a direct neighbor, no. If you can say, Afghanistan is happy only because okay. It's same as, your enemy's enemy is your friend. We do not have that much good relation, except for the new wheat consignment which has gone. And our reason why we want them to be happy, just think logically. Through Afghanistan, what Pakistan tries to do in India, in Kashmir, we can, kind of do that in Balochistan through Afghanistan, and that has happened. I'm not sure that all our intelligence agency will agree to it, but suddenly Prime Minister from Lal Killa and talking about Balochistan, one day was not something that happened, out of the blue. It is strategic, so that, Pakistan keeps his hands off Kashmir, and you have to be really friendly with a country which is, closure. And of course, you cannot isolate everyone, right, in the region. So if you need a friend which will be strategically, say in terms of geography is also important, and as friend, who would not like to have friends? Yeah. Israel is happy with us. Yes, because there are many reasons. Let's not get into the. It's very interesting. I'll just get lost in altogether different thing. Let me just complete my agenda. Yeah, I think Brunei is not our neighbor. No, it's yeah. Okay, so that is the region, and now why China suddenly got interested in all these South China Sea? Because it's oil rich. So it was not to just control the entire trade that happens through it. A large significant portion of trade happens, but also because it is oil rich and it wants to have a claim. And third, you will see now it is trying to, because now see what is India trying to do. India is trying to get into this, the ASEAN and China war, which is, you can say, a cold war. India is trying to, somehow get into the picture and trying to get these guys under, say India's, say friendship umbrella, so that, when tomorrow something happens, India will support. And if China tries to do something in, say, Arunachal Pradesh, or tries to create another Doklam like situation, it will have internationally support of some 10 countries which will condemn China publicly. Yeah, Siddharth, that's famous saying, there is no permanent friends or enemies, we have only permanent interests. So that's very true. So that is what India is trying to do. But unfortunately, what happens, India is really not interested. If you ask me, the entire Act East policy, it is not really reflecting. What is India trying to do? It wants to have, the sovereignty over its Indian Ocean. For sure that some of the patrolling ships etc. from China is also coming to Indian Ocean. That is what India is more bothered about. They are really not, though it says Act East policy, they are not really helping these countries to grow. Okay, that's one of the major concerns. If you will see, India has provided limited support, limited development assistance and market access and security guarantees to Asian countries. Now just see, if there is a friend who lives very far away, and it is not even directly committing, and then there is a dragon sitting just at your door, whose military might is well established, and even so-called your friend was once defeated, who do you think they will be more inclined to? Can they openly come and support India against China until India shows some goodwill gesture in terms of trade and other things that can assure these guys that no, we can take on China with the help of India? That has not happened. Okay, so try to understand what, the global perspective, what is happening now. So if you will see, India is still focused on South Asia and Indian Ocean region, because that's its territorial interest, and that is what it is more interested in. And unfortunately, in ASEAN you have 10 countries. The moment India tries to get much closer to one or two countries, which is possible, like Myanmar is our neighbor here, Thailand, we have good relationship, and if we show any extra importance to one or two countries, the other 8 will immediately say that India is not going to support us, and then they will have that card under in their option that they will be supporting China only. So that will not serve the purpose of India. So what can India do really? So first of all, it has brought them and shown them the Republic Day parade, wherein your military might is shown. That's one way to comfort, but really it will not assuage the fear of China. It has to do something more than that. What should it do? If you have to ask me, they have to promote investment. They have to, okay, and these ASEAN countries are great place for manufacturing. Okay, just see another dichotomy or say irony. Now India wants to get closer to them, but these guys are anyways manufacturing hub. We all know Thailand is a good place, cheap labor you will get, but India wants to make its own Make in India. So even if I get close to ASEAN country, that outsourcing the investment into manufacturing will not happen in ASEAN country. Just think what opposition will say to Modi that he's taking all the jobs away from India, all the manufacturing job he is pushing to ASEAN. Will that be possible? No. Secondly, these are great market for import. Okay, and we don't have anything to export to them. So we will not be investing there. We cannot, make them import something from our country, since we do not produce much of the industrial product. And if something we want to do investment in our country, how will that friendship come up? Okay, do you understand what is the problem? So India wants to get closer, okay, but the problem is it cannot send the investment there and it has nothing to export. Whereas China, though it cannot, it gets some of things outsourced there to keep them happy, but there it's a major destination market for China, and they are happy. Their trade relation here with China is very good. So why they will want a new player who is really just talking more about friendship and really doing less on paper? So what we should do, we should try to promote investment, connectivity of all sorts. So I think there is already a highway which is planned between India, Myanmar and Thailand, which is expected to extend up to Vietnam, etc. Connectivity, all forms, I think it should be, I told about road, it should be rail and airways should be completely open. Cultural connect, I think I'm not sure if you know that all the Asian students are allowed to come into the Nalanda University. So let them come. I think this was in paper diplomat or somewhere I read. They suggested let them come to give them some opportunity to come and read into our prestigious institution like IIMs and IITs also. Let them expose it to these institutions, and of course tourism should be increased on both sides so that people go and understand them, etc. Yeah, so these are things that you can do, but I hope you understood what the problem is. So far we are only talking, okay, we are really not taking any concrete step in towards your Act East policy. That is the entire challenge. Though there is potential, we have really not harvested it, or we have not even tried to harvest it. But you can do it, no? So someone is saying, sir, itna deep mein jayenge kya? Itna deep bilkul nahi gaya hu. Just see what I have covered. I've just covered a few points. I have given you the demographic and the economic detail. First, almost 25% of the population comes here, 5.4 trillion economy. Then there is a common problem, China. That is what why India wants to get close to, because of this major issue is China. Please try to understand, we have really not opened trade routes. It's not that everything is ready and we are not going to these countries and something is blocking. Modi ji goes and invites and suddenly trade will start. No, we have not taken any concrete steps so far. We need to take those steps, and that is the first step. But what is the unifying factor here? That China is our common enemy, I can say, because of the South China Sea there, and with whatever Doklam and the constant threat that these guys pose, and of course One Belt One Road that is passing through one of the territory which was illegally occupied in Pakistan, occupied Kashmir, and supporting Pakistan blatantly. All these things, China becomes our common enemy, and around that we want to weave a friendship which is for which we have done nothing concrete. Okay, so just 8 or 10 talking points. Just imagine if they ask you something about ASEAN and India. Now you have enough to impress your interviewers. It's all about those 15 minutes, guys. You will not get much chance. So prepare thoroughly. Please try to understand. मैंने सुना कुछ लोगों को बोलते हुए, अरे वहाँ पे 4 लाइन इंग्लिश बोल दोगे ना, उससे भी impress हो जाते हैं. Is that something you really want to do? Just impress them खोखला वाला. Build some substance, so that out of those 1:3 ratio, when he selects you, he knows he selected a good candidate. He selected someone who is serious about this job. He has prepared and come. No, you are not expected to know everything in Word, but something which is happening now is bound to be known, right? Something which is there in your CV, you should have come prepared. अगर आपने लिखा है कि आपको टेबल टेनिस पसंद है या आपको क्रिकेट पसंद है, अगर आपको अभी लेटेस्ट साउथ अफ्रीका मैच लास्ट कहाँ हुआ था, if you are not able to tell them, it will be not taken well, right? So do that level of preparation. 26 January, we all know 10 Asian countries. What is it all about? Why did Modi, invite these 10 leaders? कुछ तो रहा होगा ना उनके दिमाग में. Please try to understand. ऐसे नहीं होता अब के जमाने में, एटलीस्ट ऐसा नहीं कि कुछ भी चलो रैंडमली लॉटरी निकाला, अरे इस बार तो एशियन के 10 कंट्री निकले, इनको बुला लेते हैं. अगली बार अच्छा, अरे ये तो इस बार कनाडा का प्राइम मिनिस्टर, वो प्रेसिडेंट निकला, प्राइम मिनिस्टर निकला, इसको बुला लेते हैं. ऐसे नहीं चलता. देयर इज समथिंग स्ट्रैटेजिक गोइंग बिहाइंड इट. With every visit that Modi ji does, or when people are brought here, are invited as a guest of our country, something strategic is going on. We always want to build something. Okay, please try to understand. No, you don't need to remember. If you know 1 or 2, it's all right. You won't need to really remember. Yeah, whatever is the instruction given, do that. Priyanka Bhargav. Yeah. Yeah, because it's not in great shape. It's simple, Sandeep. Chalo, let's move to cryptocurrencies now. Okay, so that's the next thing which can come because it's always there, and I think the underlying technology is really great. Yeah, so let's get to some of the names. I think Bitcoin everyone has heard. You should know about some more. I think they can ask you, can you name some more? So Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Stellar, Litecoin, Cardano, all these are cryptocurrencies. So one suddenly, one coin has established the market. It's the first mover. Others also tried to cash in. Okay, the first time you would have heard about it was Silk Road. It was a site wherein all these drugs, etc., all the illegal trading was happening, and so we will see any new technology unfortunately gets adopted by something which is really not good for society, but and then slowly things evolve. Yeah, so Pia and Anupam have written something. You can read it. Let me just come to it. And then you heard about it when WannaCry hit almost 100 countries and cyber criminals, so that don't want any trace to be left. They demanded almost $100 in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Right. So this is how it came in news, and now for all investment purpose, etc., you keep hearing about Bitcoin. Something which was as low as almost $200, cross almost $20,000, and now it's back again in around 11K region, right? So that's the journey of Bitcoin. But let us try to understand the origin of Bitcoin. Yeah. So let's see how it originated and what happened, and what is that technology that how is it so different from, and why it became a at least why it caught the attention of so many people. So there was some person named Satoshi Nakamoto. It's his pen name supposedly. Whatever research FBI etc. they have done, it says it cannot be a work of a single person, otherwise he's a genius. It's more likely to be a group. I think there is a documentary on Netflix also which talks about it in detail. So as per them, there was a poor Satoshi Nakamoto who was living, and suddenly he was targeted, and poor Japanese guy, he said no, he has got absolutely nothing to do with it. So stories aside, this Satoshi Nakamoto is supposed to come with a white paper. What is the white paper? It is the entire theory that someone puts, and then he kind of gathered all the people, all the enthusiasts. Please try to understand, even before 2008, in I think 2001 etc., there were talks of cryptocurrencies. It's most likely that this guy is one of them. It's at least one of them, or is someone who was involved in this movement also. So after the crisis, financial crisis, it became evident that most of the people started losing faith in the banking system, that they did not handle our cash properly. So they started this movement, and they came up with a white paper wherein peer-to-peer electronic cash. If you have seen my banking awareness lecture, you know what cash or money is. It's nothing. It's just a means to measure. It all depends upon trust. Okay, so it does not need government backing, anything. Bitcoin is a perfect example of that it does not have any backing. It's just peer-to-peer say interaction, and people trust each other, and therefore that gives it the value, whatever value it has. Yeah, Indian cryptocurrency, India is planning, the government is planning. It was Lakshmi. They're still planning. It's still under planning phase. Okay, I'll come to that. So what you need to know about is this. Okay, the Silk Route, the legal purposes for which it was used. Now see, WannaCry, this brings in another question. Will this money now be used for money laundering? Now all the terrorist activities etc. can happen all across the globe without any supervision. Just try to think, why Bitcoin will never become a global phenomena is because the governments will not allow it. Just think, when every single $1,000 that you send or bring in is under the purview of government, will it let you transfer millions of dollars without government poking its nose? And it should ideally not allow also. Just think, kind of terrorist activities that can happen if Bitcoin is allowed to be completely free from any governmental control. Yeah. So the technology behind it is called blockchain. It's a digital ledger in which transaction made in Bitcoin or any cryptocurrencies are recorded chronologically and publicly. So what they say, this is it's a digital ledger. Okay, it's distributed. Okay, distributed means everyone can, see it. Okay, and there is no direct control of any third party, right? So it's peer-to-peer. So what happens is, you would have heard the term miner. Okay, so what happens, it's a ledger. Ledger is kya hota hai? Ledger mein you will have Ram, Shyam, Mohan. They will do. So the moment he has 100, he has 100, he has 100 bitcoins to start with. Now Ram buys something from say Shyam, so immediately of $20 rupees, so it's become 80 and it will become 120 and it will be reflected real time. But these names, whose names these are, will be actually encrypted. So it's a public ledger. Everyone can see what transaction is going on. Who facilitates this transaction are the miners. Okay, so just think, why will I be maintaining this record on my computer? Why any peer-to-peer things will happen? Why this will happen? Because these guys, the miners, will be awarded after certain transaction, or some whatever the condition is, if they meet, they will get as reward. It's basically a salary to this ledger guys, given by the system. Do you understand what is happening? So all this transaction that is happening is getting, please, okay, let me just come back. Please try to understand the basics here. So the entire transaction that is happening is getting recorded. It's getting recorded and it's decentralized, means it is there with everyone. But why, if I am that one of that everyone, why will I keep it on my computer? Why will I like my CPU's power to be, used for a trivial person? I will go and do this charity. So I'll not be doing charity. I'll be a ledger guy who is, letting my computer and CPU power getting utilized for maintaining that ledger. And in turn, I will be, rewarded a salary. कि आपने इतना लेजर अगर इतना मेंटेन किया, and then there are some condition, will not get into those technicalities. I'll be paid some bitcoins. Okay, so it's a complex basically algorithm that you continuously keep doing, and then each transaction is passed. Therefore, if you would have read why even the scalability is in question, because it requires massive power, and after some time, even with such little transaction going on today, it takes some time. Therefore, that Bitcoin, cash came into being also. So technologies will evolve. That's not a problem. And someone says it requires much more power than the entire Europe, consumed, and all that were in use. But technology, it will take time, but it will evolve and it will become better. But the problem is different. Because of this anonymity, a lot of bad things can happen, and the governments will not allow it to happen. You can take my word for it. It will never become universal. It will never become universal unless a central bank comes and issues it on its own. Government will not give up control. उनका कहाँ से आएगा? उनका धंधा पानी कैसे चलेगा? Just think about it. Where the taxes will come? ये तो सारा सब कुछ anonymous होगा. If they do not get the control, no one will pay taxes. No, government कैसे चलेगा? Okay, so what questions are expected from this? Okay, what questions will be expected is, first of all, what exactly is blockchain? You should know. Okay, blockchain, you have to know it's a distributed, digitalized, non-centralized ledger. That's blockchain. Now, what are the benefits? What are the benefits? They will be asked, what are the pros and cons of cryptocurrency? So I've just written it down for you. You can just read this. There is no regulator. Okay. That's one of the good thing. I think that's a con also, because of the money laundering, etc. that can happen. Knife can be used to cut vegetable and murder also. It's the same thing, but it should be regulated. The gun control, we all know what is happening in America. So everything public. There is nothing hidden. There is no middleman, no commission, etc. to be given like a bank. All the banks will also shut down. If this comes into being. Cannot manipulate bitcoins. All your transactions are safe, but some hacking and all is going on. But maybe it's happening because of something else. Because of you are giving your keys to somewhere, or something else. All the features of currency, if you have seen my banking awareness lectures, you would have seen what are the conditions for a good currency. And it's cryptographically secure, does not contain customer personal information, and still it is in public domain for everyone to verify, right? Now, why there is problem? It's not backed by any government entity, so there is trust issue. Okay, people skeptical about the adoption. Both the knowledge, first of all, I do not know about most of the people do not know about the cryptocurrency, and then they know that it's not backed by something, though that trust factor also does not come in. High volatility, we have just talked about, from $200 to $20,000 to now 10K or almost 11K. So it's still under price discovery. When something is so volatile, you say it's still under price discovery. People are still trying to figure out what its real price should be, not backed by any real asset that we all know can become, yeah, it can easily become zero also going forward. Okay, now going forward, what may happen? So if you know, I think let me just come back in 2013. I think it was decided by RBI that all the transactions will be legal. You can still purchase and sell on exchange, but none of the transaction would be legal in India. Okay. Then I think in 2016, RBI went ahead and said they will do white paper, will be, they'll publish a white paper, or they will do in-depth study about this technology and see how it can be utilized. I hope you know about Yes Bank, where one of the banks which use this digital blockchain technology, and they have already started implementing in some of the product. People have started to appreciate the technology behind it. They might not appreciate the concept of cryptocurrency, but the technology is accepted. And if the main form, the banks, the government, they can come up with, if there is a central government bank digital currency, that can take a form of an universal currency. So, we'll jump from, paper and plastic to directly your cryptocurrencies. You never know. In 50 years of time, of course, not happening in 2 to 5 years for sure. Maybe the next generation, they don't, not even digital, everything will be cryptocurrency, and somehow government will find its way to keep collecting your taxes, etc., and things will settle. But cryptocurrency per se, I think Raghu Ram Rajan, day before yesterday in Davos, he said clearly it's this bubble. All the economists, all the leading economists believe this bubble because there is nothing to back it up. Most likely the technology will change our lives in coming years. Okay, so that's what, if you are asked about cryptocurrency, you will say what are the pros, what are the cons, and how do you think this is something. If they ask you, you can say, if the central government or the banks take it up and try to implement it under supervision and control, this could become a thing. Yeah, I hope you understood what I'm trying to convey. Okay, so don't directly say that it is a bubble, ये तो सर बेकार है, ये तो कल खत्म हो जाएगा. नहीं. See what is the learning, what are the good things in it, what are the bad things in it, and then how can this work. Okay, that's it. That is our job. Buddha's path. सब में अच्छाई देखो, सब में बुराई देखो, और देखो आगे कैसे चलेगा. ठीक है? Yeah, I told briefly. I think blockchain technology is simple. See what happens if you are basically the blockchain. I'll just make for this. You are given a key. Okay, the user key is given. Okay, and for every transaction also, there is a key. So X, Y, Z, 1, 2, K, V, hash, asterisk, and it'll be crypto. This is why it is called cryptocurrency. So there is some code. In code there is a chain of letters given to you which signifies the transaction. Okay, now this transaction, you have two keys, that Ram Shyam ledger I talked about. No, you don't have to go into this detail, but okay, if you have asked, I'll just tell you because I know there is a lot of curiosity behind it. So every transaction is marked. I think even currently in bank, whenever you do IBPS etc., you will see a number like 729133 something, right? So that transaction ID basically is nothing but in this form. Okay, so every transaction will have an origin and a destination, so you will know which two person are getting targeted. And this guy Ram and Shyam, suppose they are getting targeted, they have a public key and they have a private key, right? So the moment Ram does this transaction, he will have to use his personal key. Okay, and then this block will get attached to the Ram's personal block, again encrypted. This encryption will be validated with a public key of Ram. Okay, this will again be a gibberish of certain codes, and this whole transaction will show under both Ram's and Shyam ledgers, and their account will be accordingly debited and credited. Now, and every transaction, this whatever gibberish here with his personal key verified with his public key going into the Shyam's key makes for the complete transaction, and the miners or the ledger maintainers are supposed to carry out this mathematical computation, and that is why their CPU power gets consumed, and they are the final one who will say that yes, this transaction has completed. Just imagine so many transaction happening worldwide, how much computation power it takes, you know, and anyone among different miner 1, 2, you maybe, you know, I am not sure about what the technology is going on, but I heard there is competition between the miners, which I feel is worthless. You know, you should just assign certain number. If you do X number of transaction, you will get these many Bitcoin. Now they fight among themselves, and then the winner gets, you know, credit for it, and also gets paid as per a salary to you know, maintain this ledger. So that is the that is the entire thing. A transaction ID, a public and a personal ID that gets attached. This number is in crypto. This gets through various mathematical calculation which these miners do. This gets reflected into the public ledger. It takes some time. It consumes a lot of power. Finally, your transaction is shown in the balance sheet, which is shown to everyone. I hope that should be sufficient. If someone really digs deep into it, please try to explain. Yes, every transaction has two things: a transaction ID, a code, and also my personal ID, a key. Okay. And that I have a personal as well as a public key, both gets attached. There is a random sequence of number which gets uploaded, it gets verified, and then only after the entire transaction is verified, it shows, and then it's for everyone to see, and it cannot be tampered with. Okay, chalo, let's move to ARP MLA. This is my favorite. You know, I will not be able to control my emotions here. I might get biased. You know, one politician which I really cannot stand is Mr. Kejriwal. I know, for all obvious reason. We all know, मतलब पढ़े लिखे लोगों की जो उन्होंने लीद पलीद कराई है, really I cannot stand him. You know, get into politics and do such things. Leave it. I hope I'm not hurting any sentiments, but okay, let me directly get to the issue. But you know, take whatever I'm saying here with pinch of salt. If you think I was biased in explaining this, I can't help it. Sorry. Chalo, let's get going. So what happened? Delhi government in March 2015, पढ़े लिखे ज़्यादा है इंसान, so they appointed 21 MLAs as parliamentary secretaries. So I think you would have heard about it many times कि parliamentary secretary बना दिया, or you know, but है क्या? What is this parliamentary secretary post? Please try to understand. एकदम simple terms में अगर आपको समझना है तो आपको हमें पता है, we know that there is an legislative branch, सारे MP MLAs, legislative, what is legislative? They make law for us, right? Then there is executive, ठीक है, वो सारे लोग आपके सारे bureaucrat वगैरह, they come under executive, who will ensure that this law of land is taken care of, और सारे plans, policies, etc. they will take. And then we have judiciary, right? These are the three pillars. These guys will see to it that, you know, all laws are actually followed in paper and spirit, right? Yeah, so let's get ahead with this. Okay, so now what happens is these guys appointed its MLAs who were legislatures as parliament secretaries. Okay, पढ़े लिखे हैं ज़्यादा हैं तो कर दिया भाई, ठीक है. 21 MLAs appointed as executives who were supposed to be the lawmakers. Okay, initially they said they will not take any remuneration from the government, ठीक है. But they were allowed to use government transport for official purposes and space in minister office, and so they were criticized. So, sab baithe hain, you know how much love, I think the love that I have for Mr. Kejriwal, I think Narendra Modi has even greater love, and he is in power, so he can do things about it, right? So, what happened immediately? There was a lot of hue and cry. Okay, पढ़ा लिखा तो है ही अरविंद केजरीवाल, तो अब इसने क्या किया? He immediately passed a law. He tried to pass a law. Bala Chaudhary, if you are preparing, this is, I told you the session is for IBPS PO interviews. Okay, for you the question will be how many MLAs were disqualified, nothing more than that, which act, etc. What is the problem? At best that. If you want to listen. If it's not relevant for you, please leave. Do not worry about it. Yeah, this is for PO interviews. I think you have just randomly served and entered the class. But yeah, this is for IBPS PO interviews we are talking about. Now, so what happens is, अब इनको लग गया, problem हो गया, ठीक है? The Kejriwal, okay, Mr. Kejriwal thought now there is a problem. So what he sought an amendment to the Delhi Members of Legislative Assembly Removal of Disqualification Act 1997 and it passed a bill retro. पहले इनको आपने एमएलएस को पार्लियामेंट सेक्रेटरी बना दिया, लेजिस्लेचर्स को आपने एग्जीक्यूटिव्स बना दिया, उसके बाद में बोला these पद्स, these seats or these positions will not be under the purview of say the office of profit. Okay, so अब क्या होता है, the who is in the power, all these laws etc will be passed. It had to go through Mr. Najib Jung, right? You also know his love for Mr. Kejriwal, and then finally it had to be signed by President. I think at that time we still had Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, right? But anyways, any government, none of the president will go against, it does not matter who made him the president, but he will not go against the current government, that is for sure. So of course this law, whatever retro they tried to do it, president declined. Okay, so ये तो हुआ नहीं. And then since it did not become a law, Delhi High Court set aside their appointment. Okay, so इनका ये बेचारे ना घर के रहे ना घाट के. So ये 21 MLAs who were appointed as parliamentary secretaries, Delhi High Court basically dismissed their appointment. Okay, but now since they were appointed for some days, they held this position, right? So Election Commission, as per certain laws in our constitution, they said none of the sitting MLAs can hold office of profit and hence they should be disqualified. Now what AAP is trying to say, since Delhi High Court has already rejected their appointment, so why is Election Commission coming after us? Yeah, so do you try to understand what has happened? First of all, हमारे पढ़े लिखे जो नेता हैं इनको लेजिस्लेचर्स को एग्जीक्यूटिव बना दिया. Immediately there was hue and cry. These guys tried to cover their bases by trying to pass a law such that this parliament secretary post, there is provision of, if in due time if you pass a law and keep certain posts out of profit, of course this will be challenged and finally Supreme Court will have to agree and all that, or there has to be a central law which is passed which keep certain posts. There have been instances in past where certain posts are kept out of, like chairman of the SC/ST and all such, the minority board etc. I think they are kept out of the purview of office of profit. So now since they are in loggerheads, Kejriwal and Modi ji, so of course this law was never going to get passed, and Delhi High Court duly rejected it, and Election Commission now went after their life. Boss, it does not matter. What happens in office of profit cases, please try to understand, even if I do not take any perk, if I'm eligible to get a perk, then also I'll be disqualified. Please try to understand that. It's not that I have to draw a salary. ऐसा नहीं था कि MLAs ने क्या किया था कि ये MLA की भी salary ले रहे थे, private इसकी secretary की भी salary ले रहे थे. It's not that. The logic was, these guys will go ahead, since they are the legislative, and any rule that they pass, they will be really inclined to see it getting implemented. Maybe the thoughts were noble, but यार ऐसा थोड़ी, आप अल्लाह के बंदे थोड़ी हो कि यही किस लोग भगवान के चुने हुए हैं, अल्लाह के चुने हुए हैं कि इनसे ही काम हो सकता है. बाकी लोग भी है ना यार, बाकी ब्यूरोक्रेट भी बहुत पढ़ लिख करके वहां जाते हैं. बाकी people in your executive are also good enough to do their job. If you can't trust your executive, how will legislature work? Please try to understand. So this was undermining the authority. It was thinking low about your executive and who you command, who you give the responsibility to. It was really in bad taste. They should not have ideally done it. And every time it has been done, there has been law which has been passed, things put in place so that there is no conflict of interest. I think as recent as 2006, I think there is 2 cases of someone sitting in Punjab and Haryana. I think it's sub judice. Some judgment is yet to come. So anyone who is holding this office of profit has to be kicked out, and rightly so. Please try to understand, there are 3 branches. आप ट्रिनिटी नहीं बन जाओगे ना, आप ही लॉ बनाओगे ही, आप भी एग्जीक्यूट भी करोगे, कल जुडिशरी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज भी आप ही बन जाना, वैसे नहीं चलेगा ना. So there is, when our constitution has defined a certain role for everyone, you should just stick to it. That is the entire problem. If you ask in one word, in one line, it's all about the principle of separation of powers that is getting violated here, and that should not happen. So that is the entire story behind AAP MLA. Okay. Yes, Jaya Bachchan was also disqualified. I hope you understood what has happened now. Now, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी, नाउ ही इज सेइंग, अरे अगर दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट ने उनके अपॉइंटमेंट को ही रद्द कर दिया, इसका मतलब है कि वो तो अपॉइंट ही नहीं हुए, इसलिए उनके ऊपर ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट का ये लगना ही नहीं चाहिए. Election Commission is not that idiot. Okay, so they say, agar even if for a day, even illegally, if you had appointed yourself, you have held that post for some time, and you are bound to get kicked out. Now there is another problem here. I think some of you would have heard. It seems as if president did not give them a chance. No, it's not work of president here. I think it will be heard in Supreme Court, or it's also, I think, sub judice. But as per the act, as per the provision in the law, president is supposed to ask the the opinion of our election commission, and whatever they say, it's binding on president. Please try to understand, our president is not having much authority. He has only he's the nominal head, basically, in all terms you can understand. So if you look at the language, it says it will sort the opinion of our election commission, and that opinion shall be so whenever you have that word shall, it means it's binding on president. Okay, so president has not done anything. I am quite sure they do. Okay, this time pass for election commissioner, because he is with BJP. All these things will keep hearing about it. Okay, I think he will not be there till Achal Kumar Jyoti, if you're talking about, I think his terms expire before 2019 election. So there is no reason why he should try to keep these guys happy. It is happening, Swati. It's happening everywhere. Wherever this office of profit case is there, it's going on everywhere. And do you think the opposition will sit idle? The moment a precedent like this is set, कोई छोड़ेगा किसी को? Yeah. So I hope you understood the matter hand in hand. It is the principle of separation of power which gets weakened. That should not have been ideally done, and these parliamentarians, though they will get a fair hearing, but they should have ideally been asked to go out. Okay. चलो let's move ahead. ये हो जाता, थोड़ा सा ज्यादा पढ़ने का प्रॉब्लम है मेरे ख्याल से ना केजरीवाल जी के साथ, वो थोड़ा सा ओवर एम्बिशियस हो गए. अदरवाइज ही स्टार्ट्स कंपेयरिंग हिमसेल्फ विद मोदी. 15 साल यार, 15 years he has first ensured that the state that he ruled in, before that as a कार्यकर्ता he has worked with discipline, and then he dreamt about being the prime minister. यहाँ पर you have support of 70 small region well educated people who sympathize with you, and then you suddenly started dreaming not becoming the prime minister of India but the president of US maybe. ऐसे नहीं होता ना यार, पहले कुछ करके दिखाओ ना. मेक दिल्ली अ प्लेस वेयर एवरीवन dies to be, and it becomes a role model state for everyone to follow. वो तो करना नहीं है, सबसे लड़ाई करना है, और मतलब चलो leave it. Okay. चलो, so now finally we come to right to privacy. Okay, now I think, okay, let me just come back again on screen. That's a bad thing. It's beneath him. When you are a chief minister and you're calling a prime minister of a country a psychopath, what respect you will have left, yaar? Matlab, chalo, it's gone now. Let's focus on next. The right to privacy. I hope you will understand. Matlab, in India, we do not take our privacy seriously. For that matter, even I don't take my privacy very seriously. And because we are bred like that. In India, the say joint family wala jo culture hai, and everyone knows everything about everyone, and our padosis are more interested in our life than their own life, and that's how the entire the culture has come up. But that's one thing, poking nose into someone's business, but these right to privacy are some serious stuff. Please try to understand. आप सुनते हो यार, आधार नंबर ले लोगे तो बैंक अकाउंट खाली हो जाएगा. That's like overdoing it. It is not that simple. But there are serious concerns. Please try to understand why government is trying to push it. There is, I think, a wonderful article in Hindu, and she's highly educated woman. I think she's in national law or something, and she's also a faculty at Harvard, some group there. Chinmay Arun, if I remember her. And the first time I realized the importance of privacy was after going through her article. It was in, I think, May 2016 or someone. It came in Hindu. Just type Hindu right to privacy and Chinmay Arun, if I remember her, Chinmay Arun, I think. Wonderfully written. I think everyone should read. Everyone should read that article. Okay. चलो शिप्रा, let's not get into that. अभी इसमें हम नहीं जाते हैं. अलग लेवल पे डिस्कशन चला जाएगा. Let's try to understand what the issue is. Now in this one, I'll be criticizing the current government. Don't think I'm a bhakt and I'm talking only for BJP or no. I have absolutely no political leaning. Anyone who does anything against our country, I really feel bad. I am not a supporter of demonetization. We know for sure it was not a good thing to do. No matter how hard Arvind Swamy or your Mr. Modi tries to support it. So if something is wrong, it's wrong. But okay, let's leave. I'm not trying to justify myself, but read this article. This is the first time when I started caring about right to privacy. Okay. Yeah, so okay, Shipra Chawla has given me date also. It was 18 March 2016. This is the first time I understood the importance of right to privacy. Okay, so please do read it after my class. Please go ahead and read that. Now, what is the problem here? Let me just move out of the screen here. Okay, Chinmay Arun article. I strongly suggest all of you to read it. Please see what is the problem here. Intrusive interference can be there. Okay, though government is okay. I wanted to say something and I kind of got lost there. So आप देख रहे हो कि आधार वाला all the benefit that are supposed to reach to millions of people, that can get stuck if the Aadhaar is not getting properly implemented. But try to understand what is government trying to do, and it's just not that it's Modi ji or Amit Shah or Rajnath Singh want to do something. Please try to understand they will have pressure from our intelligence agency. This is a wonderful opportunity if they have the complete data, complete authority over all the data that all the citizens have. They can have complete control. Intelligence agency will have much greater control in policing the state. But there is an unfortunate, there is a downside to it. If you give someone that much authority with so much data, it can be used wrongly. In the next election, any voice dissenting, okay, against the current government, this now Rajnath Singh does favor to the intelligence agency. Now the entire intelligence agency will be working, it will try to get into work hand in hand with the current government to ensure that only this government comes into power all the time. And try to understand it's very much possible in digital age to control a lot of things. Setting in offices also. Now they do not have to go out, do smearing campaign. Now if I know that in certain section this is not the place where my vote bank is, what I will do, I will do a vigilance, I will do a setup, I will see the chatter, I will pick up the chatter, what is going on there, wahan par kya chal raha hai, what is going against the BJP government today, and I will immediately try to go and address that. I might even use the state machinery to curb that protest. Please try to understand this is a very, very serious issue. इसको लोग बहुत हल्के में लेकर के चल रहे हैं. इट इज नॉट दैट सिंपल. राइट टू प्राइवेसी हैज टू बी. आप जब वो आर्टिकल पूरा पढ़ोगे देन यू विल सी टुमारो our country can become a police state. It don't एक civilization, building a civilization takes thousands of years, but dismantling of civilization might take only 10-15 years. Please try to understand a chaos and anarchy can set up anytime. Why these right to privacy etc was respected, why it's somehow directly or indirectly protected in our constitution. You will read that article why even B.R. Ambedkar when he went and said ahead he wanted to put in a clause wherein it should be untouchable even through future government, no matter how much majority they were in. Please try to understand the importance. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say here emotionally. Yeah, leak of information, that is secondary. Please try to understand selling your phone numbers for random call etc is a trivial issue in front of what I am saying. If you do not have a voice, you do not have voice to dissent, you do not have any more liberty to come out and speak against the government even when it is supposedly doing something wrong, then you live in you are living in hell. Will not be any better than animal. Please try to understand these are serious repercussions which are getting discussed there, and I hope Supreme Court And you know, if it was such a simple issue, अगर कि यार आधार का बेनिफिट देना उनको दे करके खत्म करो, इसके लिए इतना why are you creating so much fuss about it? It's not that. Please try to see what is underlying. The game is much bigger than the benefit that are supposed to be given to those millions and millions of people. It's much beyond that, and this can go really wrong. So it has to be debated and understood completely. Okay. Yes, consent is a big word. Okay, but now again आप इसमें जाकर के देखो ना, अगर consent वाला अगर angle if we try to bring in, do you think these middlemen will not get into this picture again? Okay, just imagine now if I'm that one of the middlemen. Now what I say कि all these guys, the poor guys who are not much clue about the digital, if you want your money in time, I can ensure, just don't sign on the consent form. I will ensure that you will get your money in time. How many of our illiterate people will understand that is really not possible for him to do? Who will create that awareness? Just try to understand, it's not that easy. It's really complex from both ends, and not therefore they are talking about these rights should not be absolute. In certain cases it should be used, but then you have seen what has UID has done, the Unique Identity Authority, what they have done. The moment someone leaked news that we were constantly told that all our data is very safe with the government, and a journalist showed, and what happened, instead of working on ensuring that the leak does not happen, FIR was filed against that poor guy or girl. I do not know who the journalist was. So you have to understand, our country still in terms of data protection, we have not built that infrastructure. That should be built first. Before that, this can be mass rolled. We are taking a step ahead, but please try to understand, at least there should be such assurance from the judiciary and from the government that it will not be wrongly used. Please try to understand, it's very important, very important. I don't know if I'm able to convey it properly, but please try to understand, this is really, really important. It's not as simple as यार मेरा नंबर जान लेने से क्या हो जाएगा. कल को जब वो आपके ऊपर भारी पड़ेगा, then you will understand that a law is in place which really suffocates you. Okay, so just see, this could have a intrusive interference, a big brother like entity taking control of every aspect of your life. This is I'm not exaggerating, this is quite possible. Please try to understand. Right to liberty and freedom of expression cannot survive if the right to privacy is compromised. This is what I have explained in last 15 minutes. वो क्या होगा? It looks like an independent thing, that your right to privacy and your freedom of expression are two different entities, but please try to understand they are very, very closely linked, and it will be compromised. Okay, all international organization, all everywhere where if you are human, you need right to privacy. Okay, problem of identity theft etc. इस सब पे तो मैं अभी आ ही नहीं रहा हूँ. The fraud, misrepresentation and real concern, these are really not my real concern. This may become later. Abhi these things are not sophisticated enough that they will do identity theft. और identity theft करके एक 500 रुपए महीने का कमाने वाले बंदे का it will cost him more to do that theft of his identity. So please try to understand, this is far-fetched, but I am more concerned about my freedom of expression, which is interlinked with my right to privacy. Okay, now please see, it can hinder the implementation of welfare scheme. Therefore Supreme Court is worried, and therefore it says right to privacy cannot be absolute, and some data you will have to forgo, but then it has to be the work of the government and Supreme Court to ensure that these data is completely safe and it is used for no other purpose but benevolent purposes, right? Such as passing on the scheme, and not for creating a police state and repressing our own people. That is something that should not be done. It says judiciary, it talks about the bill in its current form, says even your district judges. We all know about district judges. They are I don't know if I'll be held in contempt of court for this, but we know the honesty does not run very deep in our district court, and with the pressure of the running government there, they can really make them sign, and then all these opponent political parties etc. can be harassed there. Please try to understand that. Yes, Mani Kumar, that is what I'm trying to emphasize here. So I think most of our people should get, and this is my biggest concern, this protection against surveillance. Now government को कोई बुरा लगता है, they should not send its watchdog against that guy and then make his life miserable. Do you think once nothing of mine is private and secure, tomorrow if I want to say something Amit Shah, he will make my life a living hell, yaar. That is how this right to privacy is interlinked to, you know, right to freedom of expression. This will automatically die. If my right to privacy is compromised, my freedom of expression is already dead. Okay, judicial backing should be there against the, you know, violation of right to privacy. Not only state but other private corporation also. Some of you are, you know, this is something very trivial. They will not be selling data. Government will not stoop to such level. But yeah, if somehow these guys are collecting information from us, that should not be used for any wrong purpose. Yes, exactly. That is the cause of concern. And if such, you know, in America we know, though we might like Trump or not, but he's openly criticized, right? He's laughed at, he's mocked at, but nothing happens, right? Work goes on. So even our politicians should be that broad-minded that they should be under the purview and they should not suppress freedom of expression. But that does not mean कि आप यार गाली देना शुरू कर दो, हमारे CM की तरह ही कि मतलब psychopath बोलना शुरू कर दो. मतलब जो if he is doing something right, support it. If he is doing something wrong, say wrong. No, if demonetization was wrong, say it was wrong. No, bitter pill and all, or ये सब नहीं है. Tell me the benefit that has happened. No, 400 crore rupees of counterfeit money, was it really required to go through such exercise? क्या वो 99.9% of your money has come back into the system? How much has, you know, been recovered there? What has, you know, really happened through such exercise? Nothing. Honestly, it was a failure. At least whatever economics I understand. Aadhaar bill should not be repealed. It should come with these. You know, just moving, it should come with these facilities. It should be completely protecting us. It should have measures that government cannot misuse it. Not the current government, not the third parties. Nobody should be able to misuse it. It should not be used to create, you know, police state, and then we should have judicial backing against, you know, any violation that happens. You know, it should be under the purview of high level of judiciary, not the district level judges जिनको कुछ भी कोई भी 5 लाख रुपए खिला करके कुछ भी करा ले. That should not happen. ठीक है. So that was it. I think for me, honestly, I think I have covered these 4-5 topics, and I hope you have understood. So other 10-15 topics which you feel are related to your CV and the current affairs, somehow you feel it can be asked. This is the level at which I will like you to prepare. Don't get into controversy. Don't get into controversy. Someone asks even with demonetization, give them fact. You know, if you want to say that it was a bitter pill and, you know, all those 4-5, it has made our currency digital, you know, we are becoming less cash economy and all that. If you want to focus on positive, you can say that also. And then also address her, but the ultimate objective which were supposed to happen from this, unfortunately it seems it has not happened. But yes, the unintended benefits we are seeing currently, and maybe that will be benefiting our country. Be again diplomatic, be neutral, don't take a tough stand there in the interview. Padmavati Row, it's, yeah, even I am Rajput, okay, and I feel ashamed what Karni Sena has done. You can't do such things, yaar. Matlab, Kivdanti, but I understand, you know, that won't be a great analogy to say ki, first of all, there is no existential proof of Padmavati. Okay, it says it's Kivdanti. It's more you know, folklore which is told everywhere. It's some Amir Khayyam, some poet wrote that story, and you know, it became Rajputo ka garv ka ye ho gaya, which is good. You know, these folklore etc. like Ramayana also, there is no physical proof. It's mythology, right? Ramayana, but you cannot, you know, come and start saying something about Sita ji, right? So that we can understand. But एक बार मूवी तो देख लो यार, वो फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन की वहां पर वो बात जो हो रही है, किसी को सच में वहां पर वो गाली दे. आई हैव नॉट सीन पद्मावती एज येट, बट व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड, देयर वाज रियली नथिंग इन द फिल्म व्हिच इफ समवन हैज सीन कैन टेल मी, was there really something in it which really objects the feeling of or hurts the feeling of a community? If something like that has happened, it should not happen. Director should take, we are not that advanced in a sense that, you know, freedom of expression के नाम पर आप कुछ भी कर लो. मतलब अभी, मतलब even I will not be that open in my mind कि मैं कुछ हमारे पेंटर जो पहले कुछ करके गए हैं इन द नेम ऑफ MF Hussain etc. I am not that open to freedom of expression. There are certain line which we should respect. किसी को don't hurt somebody. In any religion, any community, we should not hurt it. But at the same time, don't try to create hawa out of nothing. Okay, that's my understanding, and that is what I would like to believe. Okay, अगर वो distort किया history is itself a fiction. I am telling you whatever I have heard about Padmavati, it's more fiction. There is no existential proof. Khilji happened at least some 200-year gap between what Padmavati was actually there, even if she really existed, versus when Khilji was there was some 200-year time gap which cannot be corroborated. Vandalism, yeah, do a soft protest, no, really go sit there in front of his house and say kya naak kaat karke hi you can get across your word. This is a little foolish. I don't know, means till when these things will continue to happen. I honestly feel it was a publicity stunt which went really bad. I really have no clue what really happened, but maybe to create some interest, something of that some rumor might have started, and these guys really picked on it, and they also got a lot of footage. I don't know what really happened, but it should have. It's deplorable what happened. It should not ideally happen. Yeah. Anything about bank recapitalization? Yeah, I did a complete session yesterday. Please go and watch it. Watch my previous videos on banking awareness. I think that should give you some idea. Read guys. Revise everything. I think only a week or so when full-fledged interviews will start. Best of luck. Keep commenting if you need something in between. Also, I might come up with another session or something if you feel something is getting asked regularly. If you want my views, etc., I might just help. Okay, so with that, let me just end today's session. I hope you have benefited. Yeah, just Google यार, ऋषि रंजन ये सब तो Google करके भी मिल जाएगा ना. Just do mechanical engineering interview questions and you will get at least 100 questions. Yeah, Ravi, I think we have done enough sessions on personal question. Abhishek sir done it personally. Please watch those sessions. We have covered it in detail. Okay guys, thank you very much.